you've mentioned that Bazzite came about because of things like SteamOS and the Steam Deck, but going back to when the Steam Deck was announced, what was your reaction with that? Because I remember when this happened, well, going back even further, I remember when Proton was first announced. Back then, I wasn't using Linux. Like, I'd heard the Steam Machine thing years before that. I was like, this is cool, but I don't really care about Linux. When the Steam Deck came out, I was well into using Linux at that point, already been using it for a couple of years. But what was your reaction there? What did you think when you saw that Valve was making a Linux gaming handheld and was not just, hey, we're going to work on the software side now, which they'd been doing for a number of years with Proton, but they are fully committing to doing this now?
Yeah. Well, I was around for the first iteration too. I think probably best way to answer this, with Linux, I got my start as a little kid. Like I used to wait for Ubuntu CDs in the mail to try them on
Okay.
our little extra computer in the house, and play with Compass Fusion and all the wobbly window effects or whatever I could get my poor computer to work with. So when SteamOS came out, I immediately tried it. Like, okay, like this must be great. And unfortunately, it was a terrible experience.
Oh, original SteamOS.
Yeah, because there was no Proton. None of this stuff was here yet. So TF2 kind of like ran worse than Windows. Most of your games didn't work. Like it just wasn't that.
Yeah.
So when the Steam Deck came out, I kind of looked at it with skepticism. I was more or less thinking like, okay, this is potentially a better Switch, but they could make the same mistakes again. But I want to run Linux on my desktop. I'm going to support it. So I purchased the top end model, thinking like, look, at the very least, if this fails, maybe we get anti-cheat finally. Like I'm gonna invest in this. Let's give Valve some leeway here. And then it came out, and it was frankly awesome. I mean, the amount of work they put into Proton was incredible. The fact that HDR worked at all as quickly as it did was unheard of, right? Like that had been bike shedded for God knows how long. I think it was an amazing transformation.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna disagree with you there. You skipped the one in the middle that's very important there. When Proton came along, early Proton was surprisingly good because wine's been around for a very long time at that point. Wine's always been a very general Windows software thing. Gaming had never really been the focus of the project. People had always been gaming with it, right? Like, you go to WineDB or... No, sorry. Is it called... Yeah, no, WineDB is the thing. You could find people running, like, really old versions of League of Legends before they broke that with anti-cheat, really old versions of WoW. Like, you could absolutely do it, but Proton came along and they're like, hey... So, I think it was like, maybe 6 games in the original list, something like that.
I think you're right. Like verified titles.
Yeah. One of them was Nier because the person who started DXVK specifically made it because they wanted to play Nier, which I always love. But that list very quickly expanded. We look at Proton DB today. I don't even know what the number is. I don't check the number anymore because it's so many games. 25,000 of the Proton DB numbers. If you just want to go Steam Deck verified or playable, we're almost at 19,000. Like, that is crazy. Like, that is amazing, yeah.
Let's see. I have just shy of 500 Steam games, and according to Proton DB right now, 92% of them are playable.
Yeah.
Little me in 2006 would have done a backflip for those numbers.
Yeah, like when Steam Machines came out, it was like you had the Valve games, and there was like a random other assortment of titles. I believe the Shadow of Mordor Linux port came out alongside the Steam Machines, and a couple other random, like, they were obviously indie games, right? Like, you're always gonna have the the random indie devs who also happen to either use Linux or have a Linux build, but nothing like it is today, where unless a game is multiplayer, I don't really think about being on Linux. I don't even know the last time I thought about being on Linux when I bought a game. I just bought it, and maybe I changed a Proton version. Maybe I changed a run option. I'm an AMD user, so obviously don't have some of the NVIDIA problems, but
Right, that's best case.
yeah, and it, like, 99% of the time, it just works without doing anything. If it doesn't, it's maybe 5 minutes of tweaking.